So now we will we let Audrey speak. She's a PhD candidate in Assas, and she will talk about a new way of changing behaviors.
Okay, so hello. Today I'm going to talk about my research, which is about the use of gamification to encourage more sustainable habits through empowerment. Actually, I have been working on gamification for over 7 years now. And when I started my PhD, I wanted to work on this topic. And after a year of thinking everything over, it came to my mind that I could use it for more sustainable habits and for greater purpose. So we have only one Earth is what was heard in 1972 at the first United Nations Conference on the Environment in Stockholm. And actually, this was some kind of cry of despair, which also resonates, but still resonates today. We have said that there's a climatic emergency, and it has been almost 50 years. So basically, the different types of actors who can change things are quite numerous, but the most important are the legislation, so all the legal rules and that we have, and both the local, regional, and national, but also international rules. There's also the industry, big corporations, but also smaller ones. There's also the NGOs who really act towards this type of purpose. And finally, the individuals. So it's basically you and I. How can we change things? The truth is, almost 50 years after the Stockholm conference, we see that today, even though NGOs have been working with different types of action towards a better world by saving the rainforest, by taking actions towards fisheries and so on, really having a global impact on different types of problems that we experience today with sustainable development and especially with ecology. We see that their actions really rely on sponsors, but also on regular donators. They do need money to be able to take action. They also need visibility, because if you want to raise money, well, they do have to have some kind of visibility to be able to talk to the people, to target people, either online, offline. So this is a matter of communication. And finally, they also need individual behaviors to change. And this is the topic that I would like to address today. So we see here that individuals are the key to make change happen. They really are at the center of this process. They can have an impact on the regulations because of their votes. So depending on the countries and their capacity to make their voices heard, they might have a bigger or lesser impact. They also can have an impact on the corporations and on the industry at large, depending on what they buy and what they use in their daily consumption. They can have an impact on the NGOs because of what they can give in terms of either time and volunteering or financial donations. And finally, they can have an impact, an individual impact that depends on their individual actions. Your actions today can have an impact on the world of tomorrow. So the question here is, how can we engage individuals into changing their habits and adopting more sustainable behaviors, but also to support NGOs in whatever way they can do? Again, either action, they're giving their time, their skills, or with giving money. So the theoretical background of my research relies mainly on gamification, but also a bit on empowerment. If we look at gamification a bit closer, we see that it increases intrinsic motivation and drives the player into feeling on a mission. This comes from the researchers by Mike Gonigal, who's a game designer, but also Ryan and Desi, who are more like academic researchers. The idea here is that you as an individual are going to be driven by a motivation that comes from inside of you. It's not because you're going to earn points or money. It's really something that makes you feel good. That's part of the intrinsic motivations. I'm not going to go deep into the motivation theory, but it's pretty interesting to see this. Then we have this idea that engagement happens when the brain is rewarded. And what is called a reward for the brain is a feeling of well-being, it's positive emotions. Basically, if I do something and I feel good when I do this thing, then probably I will be more motivated to do it again over time. In education, those ideas that are pretty closely linked to gamification are pretty much used, because gamification is seen as a way to motivate the learners to learn more and in a better way, things that they will remember for a longer time. This has been shown by quite a few researchers, and there's a lot of research on education, training, but either at school, but also for grown-ups, and mainly also in corporations and organizations to make them acquire more skills. If I take the idea of motivation, the idea of well-being, but also the idea of growing your skills and competences at large, it takes me to another notion, which is empowerment. And really, empowerment is the way that people feel like they can do things, change things, because they know how to do this. If I learn something and I learn to do that thing, well, I will have the choice. Will be able to make a choice either to act or not to act, but I will have all the cards, all the information that will help me make a decision in the end. So basically, researching on all those concepts, I have come up with a mind mapping of all those notions that I have been talking about and that I have researched for the past 2 years. So starting point was gamification, and I called it the 3 S's of gamification in French: for purpose, which in French is sens, knowledge, savoir, and social, which remains social. From those 3 S's that here have changed letters, come new notions which go towards empowerment, and empowerment with the fact that I have all the information that I need to take action will lead to sharing information, new behaviors, but also supporting NGOs. Here I'm really talking about providing the information about environment and sustainability. My research has really stopped at this theme, because otherwise it would have been too long and too large. And if I go to the right of this mind mapping, I see that sharing information, new behaviors, and supporting NGOs will also lead to more engagement from the users. And here I'm trying to address both actual donators who are already involved with the NGOs, but also people who might not know what to do, what they can do, and also the impact of their daily habits on the environment. In order to make sure that my, to try to see if my hypothesis was good or not. So my hypothesis is that if I provide the proper piece of information and in a way that is understandable by everyone and not just numbers, providing this information and letting people know what their impact on a daily basis has on the environment might help them change their habits, but also want to support NGOs. So in order to see this, to test this, I made an experimentation which is called Green Empowerment. I set up a platform which mixes e-learning and gamification. So there are 5 themes over 5 weeks with 6 weekly surveys and 11 challenges. So the 5 themes will be delivered weekly. So this is why we have 5 weeks. But the path starts with a survey about your daily habits. You actually hear weekly habits about all things that are easy to measure, such as how many emails do you send on a daily basis, but also how long do you let your phone charge, and how many plastic bags have you used this week. So this survey starts from T0, so when the user starts the path on green empowerment. Then each week you have some information, pretty easy to access, so that the people pursuing this path can understand them easily and maybe reuse them. And at the beginning of the next week, we have the same survey. So basically the survey is the same 6 times at T0 after 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and 5 weeks. The idea here is to see if there's an evolution in the habits. Then we have the challenges for those people who see that their habits might not be perfect, and we're not looking for perfection, but just an improvement. They do have the possibility to make a challenge. Challenges are about sharing information on their own social media, but it can also be creating information for the social media through images and so on, or also changing habits, such as taking a shower in less than 3, 5, 7, or 10 minutes. And we do have playlists with music that go for 3, 5, 7, or 10 minutes. So here they have this opportunity to make up for their bad habits or not perfect habits. In the survey, we have 20 questions and we have 5 answers from 1 point to 5 points. So it's pretty easy to see how they evolve over time. So those are screenshots of the platform. You see that you have a profile with all the points that you have earned. In the middle is a picture of one of the themes, so one of the chapters that we have. And on the right, we have the challenges, and we have 11 challenges as of today. But next week, we're going to have some more, because one of the challenges is to create your own challenge. And if they're interesting, we can publish them afterwards. The first results, knowing that we started Green Empowerment on March 29, so we haven't been all through all the 5 weeks already. We have today 135 active students. We have more students who have subscribed. Yes, so the experimentation is taking is taken in a business school in Paris, so it's only students. So 135 active students who have started either on March 29 or maybe a week later, which means that we have results from T0 starting point to week 2 or week 3 survey, depending on when they have started. And the average number of points earned from T0 to S2 or S3 is 7.2 for all groups. We have several groups from Bachelor 1, Bachelor 2, Bachelor 3, but also students who belong to a sustainable development course and others who belong to a sustainable development association. But the overall gain is 7.2 points for all the groups. So it's pretty interesting to see that they have earned more, 7.2 points out of 100. The lowest move was -21, so we have to go a bit deeper into this result. The highest was +29%, and we see for most of the students that the first results on T0 have been increasing almost over time, from week 1 to week 2 to week 3. The total number of challenges taken is 82, and 27 of those students have taken the challenges, and the average number of points for those students has evolved with plus 12.5 points, which is pretty interesting. So we can see here, but with those first results, that probably this idea of a bit of a competition between the different users, but also all those mechanics that we use with points and with challenges, with a leaderboard also, might encourage them to do better and to take more actions. Also, most of the challenges that were taken were challenges about individual actions on a daily basis, such as taking a shower in less than whatever minutes, or unplugging your phone or your box at night, your internet box at night. So it's mainly really about individual behaviors. The next steps are, first of all, wait until week 5 to see the final results and the proper evolution of, through the 5 weeks, and to analyze those results, both on the number of points earned and the this improvement in the numbers of points from T0 to S5, but also to see which types of questions. We have categories that are correlated to the different themes, which types of actions have evolved most over time. And then we will be able, with one-on-one interviews, to ask the students how they feel after this experimentation, if they have learned anything, and if what they have learned is something that they will implement in their daily lives after this experimentation. Second step will be to compare those results to those of a placebo group. So the placebo group has taken a survey at T0, and they will take a survey, the same survey, at week 5, knowing that they don't participate in green empowerment, and actually they haven't even been told about green empowerment. The purpose here is to make sure that no external element will be influencing the evolution in the use. It could be any type of event outside from green empowerment. So we really want to see if the evolution is due to green empowerment or to external events. And finally, we will launch a second session of empowerment with new students in order to, because we're going to adapt the platform depending on the comments that we will get from the one-to-one interviews. And we will try to see if we can make things a bit smoother for the students, and if we can maybe emphasize a few information or change a few mechanics to have better results, or to see if really it's the platform and the gamification that worked, or if it's something else. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Audrey, for your great presentation. Well, we really like new way of making changes, and I think gamification is really something new that we never heard before, at least not in France. So let's see if what we can do is we can begin the workshop, and we will ask questions. We will start to ask questions for Audrey, and then we will come back to the president, and now we can start to interact about this second theme, and we will start with questions for Audrey. Is that okay?